Today we're going to talk about a topic that, to be honest, that most people really aren't aware of.
The first thing we're going to talk about is how people are being programmed. You watch movies and stuff growing up. What type of movies today do you think is programming or influencing people the most? Your friends are a big way as to how you're being programmed.
I want to tell a story that we're talking about real, right? This is freestyle. Everything's on the table. So we're playing this game. We're not thinking like this is like girls throwing pills at each other. This is kind of girly. This is kind of like, and our dad came like, I guess playing this. It's like, oh, it's a fun game, and he just left it alone. He didn't say, oh, well, you know what? That's probably a sign that you're gay, or I think you're gonna become a girl. You know what I mean? It's just kids being kids. Kids are not thinking that way. They're just thinking about fun. And they have simplistic way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's us as adults that we're thinking that kids are thinking like us, but they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guarantee if my dad went in my ear, it would be like, that means that you're playing girl stuff. That means there's something different about you or something like that. That would change that.
That would change your whole
trajectory. Right.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, we're not against anybody
Right.
at all, okay? Let's be 100% honest, right? We have gay friends. we transgender friends. We have everybody, you know what I'm saying? So it's not against anybody. We're just being concerned about if you're not something, why try to make something that you're not?
If you're in a vulnerable state, you don't deserve to be manipulated. You don't deserve to be taken advantage of.
Exactly.
And felt to think a certain way.
Yeah.
So that's how a lot of the programming is being done. Like I said, it is some deep, dark emotion that you haven't dealt with or don't know how to deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And then, the reason why I feel like it's programming because, like I said, when I went to YouTube, it said something that's about, say, take this gay test or find out you're gay. And I think that's not something you can just take a test on YouTube and find out.
No.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's adding more confusion in the kid's mind. And for me, it's just like, why are they pushing this, right? But we live in a capitalist society. We know everything comes from money. You know what I mean? Obviously, doing a little research, I found out that every kid that transitions, right, it's $1 million per patient because you have to understand they have to be on hormones the whole entire lives, right? So that's constant money going to pharmaceutical companies. So they're all cahoots, you know what I mean?
I think another big thing and how we're being influenced on a certain topic is just kind of body positivity.
Yeah.
And the word itself sounds amazing. Who doesn't want to feel positive about their body? Who doesn't want to feel good, right? Accept yourself the way you are and that's it.
Yeah.
But most people, no, I don't think that's realistic. I don't think I should look at a Lizzo and be like, yeah, this person is attractive because she portrays attractiveness because she's so comfortable with how she looks. That negates all other opinions about how someone like her looks like. Like to me, I don't look at Lizzo and find that she's attractive. I think she has a beautiful voice.
Yeah,
I think she is beautiful.
But I think she has a nice personality. I like she thinks she's funny.
She has great parts about her, but at the same time, I don't look at her and think, she's physically attractive.
Yeah.
No, and I think the whole body positivity is a means to kind of deter from discipline, deter from health consciousness, deter from an overall healthy mindset and body type, because it's just kind of saying accept yourself the way you are, and that's it.
Don't get better.
I think you should accept yourself the way you are and then slowly try to work to get better too, because isn't that one of the parts of being a human being, to always search for growth, to always try to better yourself.
Self-betterment, absolutely.
Always make the best better. I think that those are better tenets to live by than just a constant means of thinking I'm okay with myself and everyone else should be okay with that too. What do you think?
I really have a really strong opinion on this. It seems like a separate thing, but it's all part one thing, right? What they're trying to do is get you to indulge in self-pleasure, right? And what does self-pleasure do, right? You give into your sexual pleasures, your physical, there's no lack of self-discipline, right?
Yeah.
What I found out was one guy went on one of these shows, right? And he broke down the amount of money the black community spent on, food, makeup, just frivolous things, and it was like millions of dollars. The angle they're trying to go from, right? Because one of the number one killers of people in our community, the black community, is heart disease.
Sadly.
And what is that brought upon? Obesity.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that body positivity like that? Why as a community, why we're promoting that? Does that make sense?
No, not to me.
But you know who benefits from this, right? The food companies, right? They're pushing this body positivity. Should you eat more, get fatter, and then one thing they said, which is weird, they said that obesity is racism or something like that. The reason why we're some weird stuff they threw into it. It's just like they're constantly pandering to your emotions to get you to lack self-discipline, because when you're in a pleasure state, you spend more money. You spend more. You're depressed. You spend money on alcohol, right? You're depressed. You spend more money on food.
You go online shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's a constant cycle, because if you're constantly you're overweight, you're always gonna be feeling depressed. And you keep buying stuff, same things, spending the most money on food. It's a cycle you never get out of.
100%.
That's why they keep promoting it, right? And if you say anything against it, oh, you're against fat people, fat phobia. Make up these words that never used to exist in the past to make you feel to shame you.
Yes. And then even for the people who do eat healthy or do exercise and things like that, it's almost like they're the ones being shamed now.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think it's a completely backwards way of looking at things, and it's a way to just kind of change it up, like to get people to spend more money on food, because I guess it is helping the economy, but it's not helping that person.
Yeah.
It's also not helping that person's emotion. It's just making more concerns for them in the future.
Yeah.
It's just kind of ruining that person's life.
It just completely disingenuous, because they make it seem like it's coming from a place of acceptance, accepting people and stuff like that, but
it's manipulative.
Exactly. It's coming from a place they want more wealth. They're trying to get more money from you, buying more food. They want you to be in more of a pleasure state, because when you're in a pleasure state, just not think about getting better, just think about just medicating those feelings. Like, I was rejected, I need that Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
I need to feel better.
You know what I'm saying? I got, someone broke up with me. Let me go out of the club, drink more liquor.
Let me take this quick fix.
Exactly.
It's very rare, and I'll bring up another example.
That ties into the feminist movement, because have more women single, so now they're spending more money on themselves. These girl trips, it's all web.
So you're saying it's all money based?
Yes. And if you think about it, it all connects.
It kind of makes me wonder about the vaccine as well. It makes me wonder, because anytime I see a push from the social media, from the government to do something, and they paint it as positive for the people. They paint it as something that will help the economy as a whole, and help the community. Anytime I see that, I always raise an eyebrow to that. Always. I just think their push on it. Their push on it for adults. And then children. And then kind of like all of our culture. I just think the push to get this vaccine, it sounds good, because it was supposed to stop COVID-19. It's supposed to stop the spread and all that. But from the side effects that I've heard from it, from the people who actually have it,
personally,
who still passed from COVID-19, all the lies that we were told about the masks and the vaccine, I think that was another way that people were programmed. And you were also programmed to think of anyone who didn't get vaccinated as an anti-vaxxer. Once again, it's a label versus another label, and I just think that creates more division. You have your right. If you were vaccinated and you have your health concerns, then yes, more power to you.
Exactly.
But for the people who chose not to get it, for them to be kind of
ostracized, like they're bad guys, like they're villains of society.
For me to criticize anyone who got vaccinated would put me in the same boat.
We did the exact same thing,
Right.
We came from a background, right? We'll express it later, but one of the strategies they would use to control, to manipulate certain scenarios and people is that they use the same tactics the government uses, right? First, what they do is they make you lose credibility, right? They may pull out something from the past, like, for example, say you talk against the vaccine, right? They'll probably go back 10 years and find out something you said, like, oh, so this person's a racist, or this person's like, he's anti, whatever they find out, right? Something that's completely relevant, even if what you said might be true. Now people are not going to think that what you said is true, because now you lose the credibility, right?
The reputation's smart.
Exactly. So now people, even though you might say something's true, they're not less likely to believe what you're saying, because now the perception on you is different, right? And that's what you see every single time. They would find the dirt on these celebrities or people would speak out. And I want to share this with the audience and with anyone can hear me. Anyone who tries to promote something out of fear or guilt, that's something that you don't want to be part of.
Yeah.
Fear and guilt. Those are dark manipulation tactics, right? They make you feel like if you don't do something, you're a bad person, you're an evil person.
Right.
And out of fear, if you don't do it, you'll die. You'll kill your grandmother. Your grandma will die. You know what? And you know what? My grandmother, unfortunately, she did die. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't because of the vaccine. It was because of the body positivity movement. You know what I'm saying? Eating wherever she wanted. You know what I'm saying? Her body eventually broke down where, got amputated, all this crazy stuff, right? It's a sad thing, but this is reality.
Yeah.
When people promote this stuff, thinking like, oh, we're trying to be positive, we're trying to be nice, people is not doing anyone any favors. These are people's real lives and being affected, but the government doesn't care. You have to care more about yourself. You know what I'm saying? When you rely solely on someone, that's when you get easily programmed and manipulated.
Yeah, you're not being taught to be self-reliant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think about the whole thing going with the vaccine? Did you experience any negative effects from people from it? Dealing with it? I know you have surprised some stories.
Well, I mean, at the same time, no one really treated me badly for it. I definitely noticed a separation of, I guess, maybe the people I was hanging around, because when we were all quarantining, and that's one good thing I guess I could say that would happen from quarantine is you got to know the people who are really in your corner.
Yeah.
The people who you spend time around, like you spend time around them for a reason.
Adversity shows your true character.
It really does, yeah. So I did notice like a separation of the people I was spending the most time around during that time. So I wouldn't say anyone treated me badly, thankfully, and I don't hang around people that do. But it definitely created a little distinction between value setting, I guess. What do you believe in? What do I believe in? We don't necessarily need to agree on everything.
Yeah.
But why does that have to separate us? Why does that have to bring us apart? So
and that's how you build off of a relationship. Something we equal. Because like I said, me and you don't agree on everything.
No.
But the stuff that we agree on, that we believe on, some principles, some moral things we believe on, that's what keeps our our friendship going. Because we have those same commonalities, and we build off of those. We don't say, oh, we're different this way, that's why we shouldn't be cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we find out what we have in common.
Right. So the way I see it is, and you bring up some good points, is the friends who I had prior to COVID and the friends that I had post-COVID or post-quarantine, I should say, they were meant to be friends in my life at the time. I was meant to have those people in my life at the time, but post that, I guess they weren't meant to be in my life for that long.
I think one of the biggest things about people you trust and you rely on is that they're there for those moments when things get tough. And adversity, that's when you actually know that they're your true friend. But in a time of adversity, and they're the first ones to get scared or cower and fear, it's like, I can't rely on you. I can never feel safe around you. You know, man, and I lose respect for you in a sense. And it's so sad, guys, because a lot of people just took sides in this whole vaccine divide, where they let the media manipulate them, thinking like, okay, you're anti-vaxxer and I'm a vaxxer. No, we're all human. We're all human beings. That's it is. We're human beings. It's not anti-vaxxer and vaxxer. It's like people who have different perspectives in life.
Now, I don't blame anyone for wanting, let's say that they had some comorbidity, some type of health concern prior to COVID, and they didn't feel comfortable spending time around me or anyone else, and then they chose to distance themselves like that.
I distanced myself from my grandma for almost 6 months because I know this thing's obviously real.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to have
you don't want to take the chance to affect it, right? So everyone has that choice. Everyone has that free choice. Just to say don't look down on people for that choice that they make.
Exactly. Like this, right? If they can actually manipulate information. So even you look up studies, they can, because
it's true.
They even change the meaning of certain meanings of words. They change the meaning of man and woman in the dictionary now, officially. So they can manipulate information, right? Yeah. So it's hard to think to yourself, what can I believe? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say don't believe anything you hear, just to completely just
throw information. Don't run away from the world.
But
if all else fails, just kind of go with your gut feeling. Go with your conscience, and I think that's why we're all made with a punches to me.
Yeah.
If this gives you a really irky feeling, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about emotions, because emotions come and go. Like the feeling that I'm talking about is more visceral. Like,
Yeah.
you feel like
something's just not right. Yeah.
And that's how you take
Yeah,
it.
it's like I know about all this.
Yeah.
And I'd be more like in tune with that because
100%.
it's hard.
You need to be nowadays.
Yeah, but it's difficult because when you have everyone against you, everyone's like, why don't you just give in? Why don't you just come on? Why you have to be a weirdo? You know what I mean? And you kind of want to be like, hey, you just want to fit in. You just want to be like, yeah, I don't want the extra stress. And I get it. So that's why conformity can be very dangerous in a sense, right? That's why everyone has to have a different way of thinking. You can't all just think the same and follow the directions 100%. Have some sense of like wisdom, discernment, you know what I mean? So one things I did want to talk about is what do you think makes you more what's the word, susceptible to being programmed or manipulated by powers that be?
If you are in an emotional state, like let's say you're just going through a breakup, the loss of a loved one or something like that, loss of a job. We all know that when you're in those states, your emotions are kind of frantic, right? You don't have the same self-control that you would if those things did not happen.
Absolutely.
If you were going through some trauma, like the way the body reacts to PTSD, it locks up at times. You tend to just completely shift your emotions or shift your personality in some ways. One of the things that makes you more susceptible to being programmed is just being in a deep emotional state, like being really caught up in how you're feeling in the moment. And I think when you're caught up, when you're locked in the moment, you don't see past that moment.
Yep.
You're only thinking of how can I survive right now? What makes sense to me right now? What can appeal to me to help me get out of this situation?
Momentary satisfaction.
Now, yes. So I can't blame anyone who's ever done that because I've done that.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But I think, yes, for sure, that would make you more susceptible to being influenced, impacted, programmed. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see it like on TV shows, like even the commercials. You know, we have the Big Mac, how it falls into the screen, all soft and bouncy, the pickles with the juice and the extra crispy, right? Listening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's appealing to all your senses. You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it looks so shiny and all that stuff. So, 100%. Like I said, I don't want to generalize. Is that women are known for like spending, being like spenders and things like that. Not saying men don't, but more so often
I
women.
think 80% of the consumer decisions are made by women.
Yeah. Push this narrative of like men are evil, men are this. Don't get mad because they don't want a man to be
You
your
don't
life.
need a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because with having a man around comes some type of accountability and leadership.
I hate to even say that, but I feel like men are being influenced to be weak, like to be very emotional, to be very caught up in their feelings. And to be vulnerable is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, be vulnerable with select people in your life too. Like, you don't want to just be telling everyone your emotions. You don't want to dwell in your emotions either. You're not telling men how to think rationally or how to act with some discipline or responsibility. I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing like the opposite.
So they're trying to suppress any type of masculinity because what it represents, right? They want you to be out of control. They want any type of stability because with stability comes a conscious choice like, hey, I gotta save money.
Yeah.
I shouldn't spend all my money on food or designer clothes or this is making sense. They want you to live in a state of constant pleasure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we know from the black community, a lot of our black role models like men are like in jail or they're just not around. So we're more being influenced by the women in the society and in the community.
By black role models, what do you mean? The fathers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or and like I said, like a lot of people, grown without the fathers being around. But like I said, don't just give up because there's no father around. Just any type of strong leaders in your life, a church member,
Friend.
Yeah, a friend, anyone, or even somebody you watch on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to teach myself how to be more masculine, have more leadership qualities.
Yeah.
Because after I was aware of it, right? So it's not against women, or it's not against men. It's that you have to be aware of what they're pandering to. What about you is making them more susceptible to their programming, right? And for women, like I said, women are more emotional based when it comes to stuff like that, and that's, like I said, that's not a bad thing at all. But that comes into influencing women to spend more money on clothes, on stuff, and like I said, the body positivity falls into that too. Because yeah, so like you're broken up, you're depressed, you eat more, you get even bigger and bigger.
You see that in the movies too a lot. You see that in the rom-com movies.
Yeah.
That's all they base it on, like eating a whole bowl of Ben and Jerry's when they go through a breakup. Like, it's funny,
Yeah.
but it also makes you want to do it. It makes you want to relate to that, right? And another thing, like besides that, I think another way that you can be easily influenced through is kind of just sex.
Yeah.
Sex is huge, like sex sells. The things that you would see in today's commercials, music videos, you could not see before.
I had to crack so many safes and get into so many dark places just to see a fraction of what they're showing on Instagram. Back in those teenage years, you had to you gotta find that one magazine that's maybe like, look at real quick before someone saw you, go back in the rack, and you would see like just like basic bra and pants.
And that made your day.
Yeah, it's like,
that was great.
That will carry me for the next 6 months.
Now you can see that every 6 seconds.
Exactly, like it's
amazing.
insane.
Yeah, so.
But it's completely unnatural.
Yeah, and it does affect the kids too, because you're charging up their hormones.
They're being hypersexualized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know the statistic about like rape or anything like that today, but I wouldn't doubt that it's risen compared to what it was before. Like I just see like how much people are being influenced to drive to action through sex, through the commercials, social media, and all that stuff. Like, of course, that would affect a young man or a woman. Of course, it's gonna hypersexualize a person if they're seeing that younger. Then imagine the people who are older, right? We're talking about younger people. People are still alone. There's more people alone today than there ever has been.
Yeah.
So imagine all the people who are alone. They still have access to all of those pornographic sites as well.
Yeah.
And the people who are like those incels, those people who go off and shoot up the schools, those people who are once again in a deep emotional state, right? Mm-hmm. I would not doubt that those people are alone in their lives. They have no one to turn to. I wouldn't doubt that. And once again, they're human beings too, right? They have a need. They have sexual urges and needs, and if that's not getting met, that can do things to a person. It can affect them very, very mentally so and emotionally so. It can cause them to do very stupid things.
Yeah.
So, one way that people are being influenced is through sex, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, I think it makes people less sexually active. And explain why. Because you think like this, right? One of our great motivations in life is sex, right? Because as a human species, we're
made to breed.
Exactly, and that's hardwired in our very DNA is to always want to breed. So you have these deep sexual urges. This is natural. You're supposed to have it, but right? So say you're a young man, right? And you want to get a girl. You get rejected, right? Instead of saying, you know what? I want this so badly. I'll get better. I'll work out. I'll accumulate money, right? It sounds simplistic, but that all stems from wanting to get a girl in your life, wanting to pursue excellence because you have a motivation to get a girl to have a life and family. You go home, watch that porn site, take one off. I won't be too graphic here, but
we all know what you mean.
Then the motivation, exactly, the motivation goes away. Then you go back to square one. It's like, all right, I don't feel like doing anywhere. And then you sit home, play video games. Get high, eat food. You don't really need anything now because you got your video games. You're being simulated. You're at home relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
You got your girls when you're on your site. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to advance or get better. You know what I'm saying? It makes you complacent. Mm-hmm. So you see all these men don't have character. They don't have any type of bravado about them because in order to get that, you need experience stuff in life. You go
out there,
meet people.
Action,
But if you're secluded in your bubble, in your box, that's your reality. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like I said, it was an open discussion. We like to talk about our thoughts and beliefs on certain issues that are happening in everyday life, but we don't want to stop there, right? We like to hear you guys' opinions and your thought and belief systems. Please comment in the comment section. But most importantly, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you here next time in your prime. Once again, I'm Brew.
And I'm Kim.
You guys take care.